Part 68. Heaven Swallowing Record. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 681. Although I don't know how capable she will be after the 5 UN, how much damage she will suffer, but this terrifying existence that could once fight against the gods in heaven is not something Wu Yu can compete with now. Writing this, I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. In front of her, Wu Yu was like a mortal, and she was a former immortal, especially after devouring Chu Hao's Hang and the others with ease. In front of her eyes were her red lips and bloody eyes, a creepy smile, and there was a stinging pain around her chest. It was obvious that her hands had torn Wu Yu's body apart to find him. That Ruyi golden cudgel. Even Wu Yu himself didn't know where the Ruyi golden cudgel was. This physical body is rare in the world. I am afraid it is the magic of gods. There are God's weapons in your body. Mortals can obtain God's things. It is a creation that billions of living beings have never had. Unexpectedly, on the day of rebirth, the first person I met was someone with great luck like you. I guess this is the same weapon. She said softly, but the movements of her hands did not stop at all. At this time, Wu Yu could only feel the stinging pain. Death has never seemed so close. She obviously had the ability to find the Ruyi golden cudgel, and perhaps she knew its location. Not only did you bring me a new body, but you also brought me weapons. After all, I have to leave you alive, but I have to let you become my pet, just like it. As she spoke, she looked at the black demon wolf behind her, which was a god of all things. What do you want? A wolf or a dog? No, just a monkey. It's quite cute. She kept smiling, but at this time the stinging pain had spread throughout her body, as if she stretched out her hand and used that sharp his fingernails tore through his own flesh and bones, exploring and searching throughout his body. Wu Yu could not resist in any way. This feeling of life being worse than death was truly unforgettable. Found it suddenly, her smile became even stronger. It's over, I've been discovered, Ming Tong screamed repeatedly. She was indeed frightened by the heaven-swallowing demon ancestor. At this moment, even Wu Yu felt the presence of the Ruyi golden cudgel. The golden and black stick appeared in a magical position, maybe in flesh and blood, but not, it seemed to be in the other spaces within the body are places that Wu Yu usually cannot feel at all. But now, her hand penetrated everything and appeared in front of the Ruyi golden cudgel. To such an extent, maybe a treasure from the immortal world fell into your hands. It is truly the greatest miracle in history. This is God never forgetting me and giving me a chance to take revenge. She smiled even more cheerfully. At this moment, without further ado, she reached out to grab the Ruyi golden cudgel, and then naturally used force to pull the Ruyi golden cudgel out. Although Wu Yu didn't give up, he couldn't even struggle or speak, and everything else was in vain. However, he came here for the safety of Shenzhou, so he did not regret it at all. Obtaining this Ruyi golden cudgel was the beginning of everything for Wu Yu, but this moment may be the end of everything. As a result, he could only smile bitterly. Who could have expected to encounter such a monster that had brought chaos to the world and killed gods? Tianhai Jade Fujio, the heaven-swallowing demon ancestor, took hold of the Ruyi golden cudgel and suddenly used force to pull it out. What a top-notch baby, so top-notch. At this time, she almost lost her composure. To her, this treasure was basically in her possession. From now on, no one could do anything to prevent her from being reborn. However, Wu Yu also didn't expect that things in this world would sometimes be so wonderful. One moment, the woman-like god of all things in front of her was still laughing uncontrollably. The next moment, her face changed drastically, she screamed, and wished she could throw away the Ruyi golden cudgel. Wu Yu really didn't know what happened. He probably only felt that the Ruyi golden cudgel had an inexplicable feeling of awakening. At that moment, what Wu Yu felt was that there seemed to be something inside his body. The power that even the heaven-devouring demon ancestor was afraid of, the power that exploded after being brained, was the Ruyi golden cudgel. Wu Yu saw with his own eyes that the body and head of the woman with blood-white eyes began to twist, as if she had been twisted into a knot. No. No, Wu Yu only heard two shrill screams, and she was twisted into a twisted shape, getting smaller and smaller, and finally was swallowed into Wu Yu's body at the chest level. Needless to say, she should have been trapped by the Ruyi golden hoop, swallow the rod and suck it in. At that moment, Wu Yu himself was stunned. Vaguely, he saw that the Ruyi golden cudgel was still there. It was motionless before, but now it was shaking slightly, as if someone was trapped inside. The golden part seemed to have some black spots. The spots were arranged like a giant beast. At this time, she was struggling hard on the Ruyi golden cudgel, but it seemed to be useless. She should have been suppressed by the Ruyi golden cudgel. At this time, Wu Yu of course resumed action. Looking down, he saw a huge blood hole in his chest, which was bleeding loudly. This scene almost made people faint. Wu Yu also felt a burst of collapse. Maybe he was really weak, or maybe he was frightened. The heaven-devouring demon ancestor is so terrifying. But it seems that neither she nor the devouring demon ancestor had expected that the Ruyi golden cudgel from the great sage equaling heaven seemed to be more terrifying. Not only was it terrifying, but it was also indifferent. When the devouring demon ancestor offended it, he was actually suppressed directly. Next, Wu Yu could not feel the existence of the Ruyi golden cudgel, nor the existence of the devouring demon ancestor. If nothing unexpected happened, the devouring demon ancestor who had just escaped seemed unable to get out, at least for a short time. This chapter is not over yet, please click on the next page to continue reading. Incredible! Too incredible, Ming Long jumped out excitedly, her face full of excitement. She shouted like crazy, "The golden cudgel is really against the sky." This devouring demon ancestor finally escaped, but now he was suppressed. And it seems that he can't resist at all. Oh my God, this great sage equaling heaven, fighting Buddha, what kind of person is he among the gods? Just with this weapon, he dealt with the devouring demon ancestor. She was inside the Ruyi golden cudgel, so she knew the process better than Wu Yu. Demon ancestor devouring the sky, is there any chance of him coming out? Wu Yu asked hurriedly. It doesn't look big, she was suppressed completely. Of course, this is related to the fact that she was suppressed for 5 yuan time, more than 600,000 years, and has just been reborn, and has not yet obtained a new body. Her whole body is now rotten, and all her power comes from the Flame Dragon Legion just now. She is just at a vulnerable time, and she dared to provoke the Ruyi golden cudgel. She is really bold. This time she is finished, haha. She is so happy, escaping death. Wu Yu also survived the disaster, and he didn't react for a long time. After half a day, his back was still covered in cold sweat. He really didn't expect such an ending. He had originally prepared himself to die. Only after escaping death can you realize that living is so beautiful. Looking up and looking around, Xuanhuan and the others are dead, and the place is very empty. Only the black demon wolf is looking at Wu Yu in confusion. This god of all things has no IQ, and it seems that he has not understood where the demon ancestor devouring the sky has gone. However, seeing that Wu Yu was still alive, it gradually became fierce. At this time, Wu Yu took Xuanhuan's Sumeru bag first, and after opening it, the world's infinite 10,000 dragon stake returned to his hand. I didn't expect that you would only leave me for such a short time. If Wu Yu had known this, he would have handed this upper spiritual weapon to him more quickly. He didn't expect that the biggest worry, the devouring heaven demon ancestor, would be gone just like that. Although he couldn't be sure whether she would come out again, at least, it should be fine for the time being. As for Xuanhuan and the others, with their previous attitude towards Wu Yu really couldn't sympathize with them. In fact, their Sumuru bags were still there, and the devouring heaven demon ancestor only devoured their flesh and blood. Moreover, Chu Haoang's Sumuru bag was still in Wu Yu's hand. At a glance, he could see that there were a lot of treasures in it, more than the little prince and the others. However, these things might cause huge troubles. He put them down temporarily and only took his 10,000 dragon stick. Although the trouble of the devouring heaven demon ancestor seemed to have disappeared, he knew very well that it would be quite difficult to deal with the aftermath of what happened here. Because, Chu Haoang and the others were dead, and the devouring demon ancestor was gone. Just when he thought of this, the black demon wolf actually came to attack Wu Yu. He came with a roar. Wu Yu did not say a word and regained control of the 10,000 dragon stick and smashed it violently. Unexpectedly, this black demon wolf seemed to be much stronger than before, and also had the ability to devour. In a head-on confrontation, Wu Yu was forced to retreat. Seeing that the opponent was about to swallow him again, Wu Yu hurriedly used the law of heaven and earth and the divine movement technique to dodge. If he continued to entangle, he might be swallowed by the black demon wolf. This means that the devouring demon ancestor had just divided some of the food for the demon wolf. Thinking of this, Wu Yu dodged and fled quickly. The round platform leading from the Yanhuang ancient well to the Tongtian demon talisman was engraved with an automatic repair array. After many years, most of the suppression arrays have failed, but this repair array is still there, so at this time, this place has been closed again. However, after Tian Hai Yufu came in, the stone key also fell down, just like last time. She had no time to pick it up, and there was no need to pick it up. Wu Yu saw the key quickly with his sharp eyes, and he ran over and took it away. If I go out directly, it will definitely destroy the exit. I have to be more hidden. Wu Yu's goal was to trap the black demon wolf here. He split into 3 clones and ran in 3 directions. For a moment, the black demon wolf was stunned and chased one of the clones. Wu Yu hid in the dark, used the stone key, rose to the sky, and left in a blink of an eye. At this time, the black demon wolf, which had little intelligence, was still chasing Wu Yu's clone. Wu Yu gave up on these clones first. He appeared here at the Yanhuang ancient well, with the round platform under his feet. At this time, he had to prevent the black demon wolf from rushing out while thinking about the next strategy. Heaven Swallowing Record. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 682. For the time being, the black demon wolf did not rush out. In fact, if it hadn't seen Wu Yu come out, it might not even know where the exit was due to its level of intelligence. After all, it was pitch dark inside the sky-devouring demon mansion, and the exit location was no different from other locations. But there are exceptions to everything. This black demon wolf is still a big trouble for the time being. Wu Yu dare not be careless. The threat of the sky-devouring demon ancestor has miraculously disappeared, so he cannot let this black demon wolf cause a disaster. Standing on the round platform, he was thinking. Chu Hao and the others failed to successfully eradicate the heaven-swallowing demon ancestor. Something happened, and all of them disappeared and died. Therefore, the Yanhuang ancient kingdom, and even the Yanhuang ancient territory, will definitely react. After all, this is no small matter. For such a big matter, they only sent Chu Hao's Hang and the others. It was indeed a bit hasty. Thanks to the Ruyi golden cudgel, otherwise it would have been troublesome. However, Wu Yu knew that precisely because it was the Ruyi golden cudgel that had defeated the heaven-swallowing demon ancestor, he was in even more trouble. Chu Hao's Hang and the others are all dead, but I am still alive. This in itself is difficult to explain, let alone the Ruyi golden cudgel. Therefore, I cannot let others know that I am at the scene. However, so many people are watching when I come back from Taku Immortal Road. This is a huge problem. Next, after receiving no confirmation from Chu Hao's Hang and the others, there will definitely be people coming from the Yanhuang ancient kingdom. Wu Yu had no way of explaining the process of this matter to those people. Especially when it comes to the Ruyi golden cudgel. Moreover, he was already burdened with the Wangzi anti-murder case. If those people tried to trace their memories, it would be even more troublesome and they would be dead. I must not let anyone know that I have been here, but Holy Lord Taixu and the others, as well as many Yanhuang immortal lords, have seen my appearance. What should I do? Such difficulties still left Wu Yu at a loss. Because he is pregnant with a treasure, even if he survives now, he is still not out of trouble. The heaven-devouring demon ancestor is gone, but she must not tell anyone how she was suppressed. It's definitely not possible to just leave. It is estimated that the entire Yanhuang ancient kingdom will look for me in the future. Find out what happened, Ming Long, can you think of any way? Wu Yu said with a headache. You finally remembered me. What's the matter? Now you know how to listen to me? I asked you to run for your life just now, why didn't you disobey me? Ming Long rolled his eyes. You have a lot, just don't argue with me. I can be a bit stubborn sometimes, you know. Wu Yu heard her arrogant answer and immediately understood that her answer was obviously a joke. Most of the time, she has many options. After being praised by Wu Yu, she felt proud and said, there is a way. Since you don't want others to know that you are back, isn't the only way to erase their memories? Just erase the memories related to you. In fact, it is a kind of hypnosis. Hypnosis tells them that you have not returned from the Teiku Immortal Road. Erase memory? Hypnosis? How can this be so easy? There is no such method. Wu Yu only knew that the emperor had a way to spy on his memory. Ming Long curled his lips and said, it's really hard to talk to you, a frog in the well, so I'll just put it directly. In fact, judging from this whole thing, for Holy Lord Taixu and the others, you played no role at all. Effect, they did not come in, so for them, the outcome of the matter will not change with or without you, and their cultivation is generally low, so use a hypnotic Taoist technique to tell them that you are still on the Teiku Immortal Road, they will forget that you have returned. In fact, if Wu Yu wants everyone to strictly keep secrets, everyone can do it. Wu Yu is afraid that those people will be too lazy to listen to the introduction and use the method that Emperor Yu once wanted to deal with him. In that case, they will still expose Wu Yu's whereabouts. You make sense, but where do I have this kind of hypnosis technique? Ming Taki chuckled and said, actually, all you need is a very difficult hypnosis. It's actually many times easier than the kind of prying into memory that Emperor Keiru did. However, ordinary hypnosis techniques will have traces, but you are indeed very lucky to have escaped death this time. When I was in Ming Long, I happened to have a method called the Selfless Tao method. This kind of hypnosis method is extremely fast and can also be used on groups. Those Yanhuang Immortals Jun, they are all little guys, they can be successful if they use it casually. The most important thing is that it will not leave many traces, and basically no one can detect anything weird. Selfless Taoism. I have enough time to practice now. Wu Yu was really surprised. Ming Long could actually be of great help sometimes. After hearing what she said, Wu Yu also felt that in fact, all he needed to do was a very difficult hypnosis, which was just to make people forget their own existence. There was no need to explore the other person's memory at all, and it didn't even have anything to do with memory. The key is, leave no trace. But Wu Yu was still worried that the speed of his cultivation was not as fast as those of those who came. It's not you. Your realm is too low. This needs to be based on realm. I think, let the Holy Lord Taixu do it. He can handle this selfless Taoist method in one day. This is just a simple heresy. And the selfless Taoist method, the most powerful part of the method is that you can also hypnotize yourself, let him learn, conquer everyone, and then hypnotize himself, and there will be no problem. Although Ming Long said this was a heresy, it sounds like he can even hypnotize himself and force himself to forget some things. In fact, this is also a way to resolve sadness. Wu Yu stayed here for a while, but the black demon wolf didn't come out, so he probably couldn't find the exit. This chapter is not over, please click on the next page to continue reading. He went out to the city lord's mansion and sent out the summons talisman to let Holy Lord Taixu and Emperor Commander in. The people outside were extremely nervous at this time. While they were waiting, Wu Yu suddenly sent the original talisman, but he didn't explain anything, but he actually let everyone in. You know, the Flame Dragon Legion said they were prohibited from entering. In the end, they chose to believe Wu Yu, so they went up to Yanhuang Emperor City, entered the city lord's mansion, and came to Yanhuang Ancient Well, where Wu Yu was waiting for them. In this sky full of yellow sand, Wu Yu was the only one near the round platform. The wall that had previously imprisoned Duoming Shensu and the others had now been shattered, and everything was in a mess. Wu Yu, what happened? Where are they? Everyone looked nervous and surrounded him. Wu Yu has transcribed the selfless Taoism dictated by Ming Long. She doesn't know where she got it from. It is indeed very magical. If this selfless Taoism is missing, Wu Yu really doesn't know. Now how to get out? He said, I can't tell you what happened, but please believe that the worries of the heaven-devouring demon ancestor have been completely resolved. However, please don't ask any more questions. Wu Yu was so serious. Of course they knew there was a reason for the incident. Fortunately, the worries of the heaven-devouring demon ancestor were resolved. However, they obviously knew that something very complicated was going on inside, but they couldn't let others know. It's best not for them to know. Everyone, because things have changed a lot, it's best if you don't know the details. I have a Taoist technique here that can make everyone forget that I returned to Dongsheng Divine Continent and was practiced by the Holy Lord. Everyone who has seen me, please believe me, I will leave in front of everyone soon, don't worry about me, maybe I will go to Yanhuang Ancient Territory if I see that the next thing can be solved smoothly. They still trusted Wu Yu. Looking at Wu Yu's appearance, they knew that the situation was urgent. Wu Yu, don't worry. We will do as you say. This time when you came back from Taku Immortal Road, I know that you have been suppressed a lot. No matter how you arrange it, there will be no problem. We believe in you, the Emperor said solemnly. Since he started, others didn't have much objection. Although these elders were full of questions and confusion, this kind of trust made Wu Yu very emotional. Wu Yu really couldn't let them know too much. The more they knew, the harder it would be to forget. He told Holy Lord Taixu alone about the details of the use of this selfless Taoist method. Wu Yu, from now on, you will not return to Dongsheng Divine Continent for the time being, and Dongsheng Divine Continent will no longer have the worries of the heaven-devouring demon ancestor. As long as we don't tell you that you have come back, you will be safe and sound, and others will not be too suspicious. Right, Holy Lord Taixu asked. That's right, Wu Yu nodded. That's fine. What Wu Yu needs is that they know nothing about what happened. When others come, they only know that Chu Haoshang and the others occupied Yanhuang Emperor City, and then one day they started to solve the problem. Finally, when they came up, this is what it is now. Naturally, they don't know where Chu Hopeng and the others have gone. This is the best. Holy Master Taixu looked at the selfless Taoist technique and sighed, this Taoist technique is not difficult, but it is very mysterious. The person who created this Taoist technique probably wants to forget some things. So he must do it without leaving any traces. Very nice. Even he admired that it shouldn't be a big problem, so Wu Yu asked him to hurry up. They went down first, while Wu Yu stayed in the Yanhuang Emperor City. He was worried that the black demon wolf would rush out, so he took precautions here. Below, after more than a day of trying, Holy Master Taixu finally found out when he was dealing with someone who only had the Golden Core Realm. When the Yanhuang Immortal Army used it, it succeeded easily. He had a large number of test subjects, making everyone basically forget that Wu Yu had come back. In the end, Holy Lord Taixu will go to Tongtian Sword Sect and Wu Du. After forgetting, they will only think that Wu Yu is still on the Taiku Immortal Road. Basically, after successfully using the Yanhuang Immortal Army, the Emperor Commander asked them to disperse throughout the Dongsheng Divine Continent, so that if someone came, they would not be able to find them. So the most important thing was how many of the Emperor Commander, Shushan 7 Immortals and others were waiting. Individuals are not truly forgotten. A few days later, the Yanhuang Immortal Army below had dispersed. Then Holy Lord Taixu used it on others, while Wu Yu watched from a distance, and it basically succeeded. In this way, Wu Yu felt relieved. Ming Long, thank you very much. This is still her method, so Wu Yu is safer. Haha, next time I ask you to run for your life, just be obedient. Ming Long folded his arms, looking arrogant. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Heaven Swallowing Record. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 683. Chapter 676. The End of Shenzhou. The Grand Master Taixu acted very quickly. After a few days, the Emperor Marshal and the others had forgotten that Wu Yu had ever come back. He also went to the Tongtian sword section. After becoming proficient in the selflessness method, he could basically use it on many people at once. Especially for people like Wu Yu, who had no resistance to the strongest people in Shenzhou. In the end, it was only the Grand Master Taixu himself. What are your plans next? He looked at Wu Yu with a complicated look. Although Wu Yu did not explain the details clearly, he needed to do this. Obviously, he wanted to take responsibility for this matter. Although he did not know the details, he still guessed that Wu Yu was the savior of Shenzhou, and Chu Haoang and the others would probably be really gone. Wu Yu said, next, the ancient country of Yanhuang will definitely send people to investigate the situation. You just need to not know that I have been back and what happened, and there will be no problem. Okay. The Taixu Saint Lord nodded, but he was still a little worried and asked, will you be in big trouble from now on? Wu Yu shook his head and said, as long as you follow my arrangements, it basically has nothing to do with me, don't worry. The Taixu Saint Lord was finally relieved. In fact, he still had a lot of questions to ask, but seeing Wu Yu's firm eyes, as if he had a certainty in his heart, he put away those questions and said, then, I will wait for you to become an immortal one day. Dongsheng Shenzhou will always be your hometown. After saying that, he said goodbye and left. I believe he will soon use the selflessness method on himself. If the object of the cast is willing to accept this kind of forgetfulness and actively cooperate, the effect is still quite good. For Wu Yu, the only thing next is to wait. He estimated that it will not be long before a large number of people will rush here after losing the news of Chu Haoang and others. As expected, on the second day after the Grand Master Taixu finally used the selflessness method on himself, Wu Yu hid in the dark, and with his fiery eyes, he looked at the distant Yanhuang Emperor City, and saw a group of thousands of people appearing above the Yanhuang Emperor City. This group of people should still be the members of the Flame Dragon Legion. Wu Yu did not expect so many people to come. Could it be that Chu Haoang was not sent to solve the problem, but was the vanguard? That's right, how could only Chu Haoang be sent for such a big thing as the devouring heaven demon ancestor, but Chu Haoang seemed to want to take the credit and take the lead. This was just Wu Yu's guess, but it was indeed very likely. Otherwise, this group of thousands of people would not have arrived so quickly. If Chu Haoang had to solve it himself, they would not have had to come. Moreover, after this group of people appeared, Wu Yu did not dare to show up at all. It was obvious that this group of people was likely to be the elites of the Flame Dragon Legion. Even the people on the periphery were all in the Yuan Shen Huaxing realm, and even the realm was very high. Most of them were middle-aged people, proving that they had practiced Taoism for at least 200 years, or even 300 years. For the Yuan Shenhuaxing realm, this was almost the peak age. Although it was difficult to improve at this age, it was precisely because of this that it had been improved to a high enough level. Wu Yu hid himself deeply and did not dare to show his face at all. But he knew very well that among this group of people, there might be strong people he had never seen before, even surpassing the Yuan Shenhuaxing realm. Maybe, it was the commander of the Yanlong Legion who came in person, Wu Yu thought. Indistinctly, he saw that there seemed to be a blond one-armed old man at the core of the team, with a very majestic aura. Wu Yu only took a look and quickly dodged and hid in the fusion tower, because he had a hunch that if he continued to watch, he would probably be discovered. Such a terrifying team could destroy Dongsheng Shenzhou many times. The gap between Dongsheng Shenzhou and them was like the gap between Tongtian Sword Sect and Shushan Xianmen, which was not at the same level at all. It seems that the ancient country of Yanhuang really cares about the matter of the devouring demon ancestor. As soon as they arrived here, they summoned the Grand Master Tegzu and others. Wu Yu was a little worried that they would see the traces, but Ming Long was very confident and said, "Don't worry, this is the method of your ant in the past. It has been lost for more than 100,000 years. These young people now don't have this accomplishment." There were a lot of old people in that team, and she actually said that they were young people. Wu Yu could only wait. Maybe after asking, the Grand Master Tegzu and others came down soon. This further shows that in fact, they didn't ask at all, but directly peeped into the memory, which is simple and direct, and it is impossible to make mistakes. After knowing the whole story, the Grand Master Tegzu and others are no longer needed. Wu Yu saw from a distance that when the Grand Master Tegzu and others came down, they were still sweating coldly on their heads. They were probably scared. But at least they were not worried about their lives, so Wu Yu was relieved. This group of people are more mature and stable, and will not be as reckless as Chu Haoang. Next, Wu Yu guessed that they should have entered the Yanhuang Ancient Well. Inside the Yanhuang Ancient Well, there were a lot of traces of fighting in their Yanlong battle formation, which eventually spread into the round platform. With their means and wisdom, they obviously knew that the accident happened under the round platform, in the devouring heaven demon mansion. After thousands of strong men went in, it should not be difficult to deal with the black demon wolf and find the things left by Chu Haoang and others. Perhaps, they will think that the black demon wolf is the heaven-devouring demon ancestor. After all, none of them know what the heaven-devouring demon ancestor is. Perhaps, it is also possible to think that the heaven-devouring demon ancestor has escaped. Perhaps, one would think that the heaven-devouring demon ancestor has died long ago, and these things are just some residual things causing trouble. There are many possibilities, and Wu Yu doesn't know what they will think. However, he knows that the heaven-swallowing demon ancestor is now within the Ruyi Golden Cudgel. As long as they don't destroy Dongsheng Divine Continent, that's fine. Moreover, they have no reason to destroy Dongsheng Divine Continent. Soon, they came out of the Yanhuang Emperor City. Check the Dongsheng Divine Continent to see if there are any traces of the heaven-swallowing demon ancestor. Chu Hofan acted recklessly and disrupted my plan. We must atone for our sins and see if there is anything else besides the black demon wolf that is causing trouble. In the sky, a majestic voice like a god came out, and then several people quickly dispersed, probably using a blanket search in Dongsheng Shenzhou. Wu Yu saw that the tool they were checking seemed to be a bead in their hands, and inside the bead, there seemed to be a ball of black energy, which was very similar to the black energy of the heaven-devouring demon ancestor before. They were holding these black energies as seemed to be using the aura of the heaven-devouring demon ancestor to find out whether there was anything else left in the Dongsheng Divine Continent. Wu Yu buried the fusion tower and hid in it. He was not sure whether he would be discovered, so it was better to be safe. After several days, he came out and found that the Flame Dragon Legion seemed to be missing. Wu Yu went to inquire secretly, and found out that those people seemed to have sealed off the Yanhuang Emperor city, searched Dongsheng Shenzhou, and then seemed to have left. Leaving like this. I guess they really didn't find it. For them, if the heaven-devouring demon ancestor really escaped, he would not stay in Dongsheng Divine Continent. They came later and wanted to know the truth through the scene, but it was really impossible. Now that the heaven-devouring demon ancestor was empty, there was no use for them to stay here. It is said that the group of people who came earlier were relatively close to us, so they were sent to inquire about the situation first. However, those people were anxious to make meritorious deeds, were arrogant, and took the first step. In the end, they seemed to have messed up and lost their lives. But it seems that the heaven-devouring demon ancestor has not appeared. After all, if the heaven-devouring demon ancestor really appeared, we would all be dead now. I also heard that they killed a black demon wolf. It seems that everything that happened before our Dongsheng Divine Continent was actually caused by this demon wolf. It seems that the gods of all things were born in the mansion of the ancestor of the devouring demon. That little bit of wool from the heaven-devouring demon ancestor is actually not that scary, so they can leave with peace of mind. Anyway, the former Yanhuang Emperor city is now completely gone and sealed off. Now, the Flame Dragon Legion is gone. It seems that things on Dongsheng Divine Continent are finally over. The heaven-swallowing demon ancestor has been eliminated, and Wu Yu's strength has reached the top level here. There is no opponent here anymore. It's time to explore a wider sky. Everything, start again. A bigger battlefield, a wider world, the ancient Yanhuang realm, the world of Jambu, are all waiting for him. Wu Yu originally thought that now he could go and meet Wu Yu and the others, as well as the Holy Lord Taixu and the others. However, if someone comes again and finds that he has appeared here, it is still not good. Although they had forgotten that Wu Yu had reunited with them. That's enough. Moreover, it's not like I won't come back in the future. If he carves out a world outside, he will still come back. This is his hometown. He stood on the sea to the west of Dongsheng Shenzhou. If he walked west, he would reach the Yanhuang ancient territory. Looking at the magnificent Dongsheng Divine Continent, now that everything has been resolved, and thinking of all the life he spent here, Wu Yu smiled. It's exciting, and everything is worth it. Sister, take care of yourself. When I come back, I will make you live longer when I become an immortal. There are also Master, Senior Brother, and Senior Sister. And his friends, his elders. Maybe, they are still worried about Wu Yu. Sorry, I can only keep you worried like this for the time being, unless this storm gradually passes. He bowed towards Dongsheng Shenzhou and turned around. In front of him was the endless vast river and sea. New world. Suddenly I remembered Nangang Wei's disappearance. Thinking of the haggardness of Qiang's sword immortal. Did you leave willfully, or were you helpless? Where did you go? He agreed to the Qiang sword immortal, but Wu Yu really didn't know how to find her in this vast world. I went back to my hometown to celebrate the Mid-Autumn Festival today. I took the car during the day and wasted some time. So one update. It seems like I'm owed 2 updates. I'll try my best to get through these few days and update more. At least I'll make up for these 2 updates. I'm sorry that I've been tired for a long time and my body can't bear it. First, I wish you all a happy Mid-Autumn Festival. Volume 4, The War Between Ghosts and Gods ends here, and a new volume will begin tomorrow. The journey to swallow the sky has officially begun. Heaven Swallowing Record. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 684. Although he was anxious, Wu Yu knew clearly that it was basically impossible to find her. Unless one day, he is far more powerful than he is now, and it will be easy to find someone in the entire Jambu world. Now, after leaving Dongsheng Divine Continent, if he wants to achieve more outstanding achievements, he must go to a wider world. Wu Yu has long since determined his desire to go to the Yanhuang ancient territory. Only there can he have the status and strength worthy of Luo Bin, and only there can he have the possibility of becoming an immortal. 120,000 years ago, Ming Long spent a period of time in this place. Wu Yu knew very well that even if he was still concerned about Dongsheng Shenzhou, he could not stay here. His spirit and body were eager to pursue a more violent world and experience. This is a huge desire to become an immortal. The road ahead is vast, and what now appears in front of Wu Yu are two choices. The Yanhuang ancient territory is dominated by the immortal Cultivation dynasty. There are also large and small countries such as the Yanhuang ancient kingdom, the Baiming Empire, the Motion dynasty, the Mugzi dynasty, and the Yunzhang Fairy kingdom. There are also small places like the Snow Realm and the Blue Wing Storm Valley. But without exception, every force has divided up the territory in the Yanhuang ancient territory. If I enter any country rashly and have no identity in that country, I will be an outsider. At least I will be kicked out, at worst, of course. Killed for money. This is a different place from Dongsheng Shenzhou. Dongsheng Shenzhou Shushan Immortal Gate, Shangyuan Daozong and other places only occupy the cave heaven blessed land. The Yanhuang Emperor City is a city and does not divide the land into a country. It is heavily armed. Guard the frontier. It is still very difficult for people to enter other countries of cultivating immortals. This is similar to the mortal fairyland. That is to say, I only have two choices now. One is the Yanhuang ancient kingdom. The Yanhuang ancient kingdom is in the middle of the Yanhuang ancient territory, but from the map, there is still part of the coastline. After all, the territory is too huge. From here the coastline enters the Yanhuang ancient kingdom, but Wu Yu hesitated. The Yanhuang ancient kingdom has been his future goal from the beginning, because it is the place that the Yanhuang city lord yearns for. However, from the emperor's son to the young prince, and then Chu Hao's Hang, etc., all the encounters with people from the Yanhuang ancient kingdom made Wu Yu feel uncomfortable. Among the ancient immortal road, even the weakest people from the Yanhuang ancient kingdom have the right to look down on Wu Yu. Chu Hao's Hang also had no intention of respecting Wu Yu at all. He wanted to take away the 10,000 dragon stick and took it away at any time. This made Wu Yu have to wonder what would happen to him if he went to the Yanhuang ancient kingdom and let others know his identity. People from the Yanhuang ancient kingdom would probably think that he was someone from the wilderness of Dongsheng Shenzhou. At least, the one long stick couldn't be saved. Even if there is no one to protect him, in a country where strong men dominate, and there is no way to hide his identity, it is possible for someone to directly search Wu Yu's memory and obtain his biggest secret. The Yanlong Legion made Wu Yu realize that it might be even more dangerous to go to the Yanhuang ancient kingdom, which had no support at all. The lord of Yanhuang city didn't know that I had such a big secret, so he asked me to join the Yanhuang ancient kingdom. But I know how many people will be curious about me, and because I have no backer, they have no patience for me. In fact, Wu Yu's current age and strength make him the top super genius in the entire Yanfu world. After all, none of the emperors and others are his opponents now. However, the future of a genius who has no one to protect him will always be much more bumpy than that of Emperor Keiru. For so many reasons, Wu Yu had to consider another, more unfamiliar place. That is, the Baiming Empire is located in the northernmost continent of the Yanhuang ancient territory, the Baiming Emperor continent, and occupies most of the Baiming Emperor continent. It was a cold, even dead, frozen place. There, for Wu Yu in all aspects, it was even more dangerous than the Yanhuang ancient kingdom. If it weren't for the existence of Princess Yuking, Wu Yu would not even consider going there. Princess Yuking is controlled by the soul controlling blood formation. She is like my slave. Although I don't treat her as a slave, I need her help to slowly integrate into this vast Yanhuang ancient realm. After Wu Yu waited, he believed in himself and the soul controlling blood formation more. Therefore, his goal is, by Ming Empire. In this endless and violent sea, his direction changed from southwest to northwest. After making the decision, my mind became clear. Wait until I arrive. Wu Yu gave Princess Yukin an order. He was very clear about all Princess Yukin's thoughts. When the other party heard the news, she was a little scared, but amid her fear, there was also a hint of excitement and expectation. However, Wu Yu did not set off in a hurry. He felt that in addition to the 10,000 dragon stick, he also needed some capital. After all, the 10,000 dragon stick was really conspicuous. In fact, by reaching the 8th level of Zifukanghai realm, Wu Yu can practice the last magical power. It's just that one doesn't have time. Now, the time has come. Wu Yu now owns the floating life tower and has a lot of time. The turmoil in Dongsheng Shenzhou was not completely over, so he planned to stay at the seaside for a while longer. He entered the fusion tower, and the fusion tower sank downwards in the vast sea, sinking deeper and deeper. Finally, it sank to the bottom of the sea where he could not see his fingers, sank into the black sand on the bottom of the sea, and was buried in the rolling black sand. And Wu Yu was in the bright fusion tower, ready to wait for Ming Long to give him all his strength. In fact, the only thing Wu Yu could get from Ming Long was this last magical power. Ming Long probably knew about the indestructible body and the other 3 magical powers. Wu Yu already knew about the rest. Wu Yu himself needed to communicate with the Ruyi Golden Cudgel to explore and learn the rest. The wonderful thing about the 4th magical power is that after it is cultivated, even if it is the first level, your chance of survival will increase to more than 3 times. If it is the 2nd level, it will be at least 10 times more. When you wait until the 3rd level, that's more. It's a pity that I only cultivated to the 2nd level. Otherwise, I wouldn't have lost my life. What magical power can increase the chance of survival? More than 3 times, this is not a small number. As for the beginning, it seemed that Ming Tong was being plotted and was besieged by many people who were close to him or even stronger than him. Stop being so pretentious. There is no pressure at all now. It is the time when he is relaxed and at ease, and it is also the time when his mentality is the most stable. It is just suitable for studying and pondering magical powers. This magical power is called Somersault Cloud. Wu Yu thought it would be such a domineering name, but what happened? Somersault. Does this mean the somersaulting cloud? Seeing his appearance, Ming Long immediately sneered and said, "Don't underestimate the somersault cloud. Although its name sounds relatively simple, its real effect is to make you attain enlightenment and become an immortal. The chances are greatly increased. At least, in many fatal situations, it can keep you alive. The effect of this alone is more than the other 3 magical powers. In fact, what I regret most is that I ignored it at the beginning. It's hard to figure out the function of this somersault cloud, otherwise, I would have been so powerful in heaven now, and would have nothing to do with you, a little devil." Understood. Wu Yu naturally knew that she was not joking. Her death was the biggest regret in her life, so she would not joke. The 4 magical powers last a lifetime. Among them, Somersault Cloud is the most difficult, so it makes sense for you to think about it now, Ming Long said. Wu Yu was curious and asked, "What is so special about this Somersault Cloud? What kind of magical power is it?" The other 3 types can be easily understood from their names. Outside the law means that they have thousands of incarnations. Fierce eyes and golden eyes make it clearer. Although the law of heaven and earth is a little obscure, it is not difficult to understand. In the end, the body can stand upright with the sky and the earth. It's this somersault cloud, it sounds like a child's toy. Ming Long would always feel very proud at this time. She lengthened her tone and said slowly, "Well, in short, you used this magical power to forge a strange cloud. This cloud, by your side, it has all kinds of miraculous effects. I don't know how many levels there are in total, but I know that the first 3 levels have also been cultivated to the second level. A strange cloud? This is still a little difficult for Wu Yu to understand. Minglong simply explained in detail, the effects of each level seem to be quite different. For example, the first level initially condenses the somersault cloud. Then, you can sit on this somersault cloud and enjoy the world at ease. This somersault cloud, it has the ability to travel through space. Its speed is not the ultimate speed, but a kind of travel through space and the world. For example, between 2 points, you use the magic to go straight, as if it's very fast, and if you ride a somersault cloud, it will fly in a curve, as if it's a big circle, but in the end you will find that you save more than half of the time. Wu Yu was confused when he heard this. Actually, somersault clouds involve the Tao of space. This is a very complicated Tao that only immortals can understand. However, the power of magical power allows us to explode the power of this magical power when we have a little understanding of this Tao come out. Space, universe. Wu Yu began to understand a little bit. In other words, the speed of somersault cloud is not the speed, but the speed similar to space jump. This way is difficult, so somersault cloud is also difficult, but in fact the real space avenue is even more difficult. Think about it compared with that avenue, this magical power will seem very simple. Mingtaki was quite serious and spoke clearly. In other words, when you ride this somersault cloud, your real speed is more than 10 times your usual fastest speed. With this way of escaping, no matter how strong your opponent is, you can run away as soon as you get on the somersault cloud. Who can catch up with you? Moreover, that somersault cloud can accompany you at any time. It can also provide cover during battles, and can gather around to resist attacks, etc. Such speed and space jump are really interesting. But, is that all about somersault clouds? Volume 6, Beiming Swallows the Sky. Officially opened. Heaven Swallowing Record. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 685. The magical power that Minglong values so much does not only have such effects. However, the speed of the first level alone completely covers up the superposition of divine movement and magical heaven and earth. Moreover, the key is that it can last for a long time and does not cost much effort, because this is not a simple rush, but a journey in the void. Traveling through it, although it takes a roundabout way, it is faster. What about the second level? Minglong curled his lips and said, I haven't finished the first level yet, and I'm still thinking about the second level. Don't be too pretentious, just give me a brief introduction. Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. Since you ask sincerely, I will tell you with mercy. This is the second level. It's awesome. The somersault cloud and your people are integrated. You only need to turn a somersault. Most of them you can jump out of the magic circle, confinement, and space restrictions, and even shuttle out. For example, a situation like Wang Xiantai will never trap you. If you didn't have too much time there, it would be difficult. In fact, you can practice at the second level. All in all, with your current level, you can jump out as long as you don't encounter a perverted place, and you can also directly pass through many barriers set up by magic circles, at least. After I completed my cultivation, no one could imprison me, and no place could stop me. This sounds simple, but it's actually even better. No magic circle or place can restrain him, and no place can stop his invasion. When encountering a strong enemy, somersaulting out, and then driving away directly with a somersault cloud, no matter how strong a person is, there is no way he can kill Wu Yu. No wonder Minglong said that after cultivating to the second level, the chance of survival can be increased by more than 10 times, and there is no need to die in many places where one must die. Last time on the Taku Immortal Road, there were obviously important treasures in many places, but Wu Yu just couldn't get in. For example, the bronze door in the mausoleum might be able to go through directly. Although it seems to have little offensive power, sometimes the means of survival are more important than the means of attack. Judging from Wu Yu's situation, as long as he does not die and has the inheritance of the immortal, he is indeed not afraid of anything. After experiencing the shock of the first two levels, Wu Yu couldn't help but be somewhat interested in the third level that Ming Long still knew about. Third level? I don't understand it either, but I estimate that somersault clouds can be used in battles. At that time, the somersault clouds will be very large and can form a field to trap the enemy in it. It's like a 520 novel network with terrible toughness, which sticks people inside and hinders movement, etc., but you can move freely in it, and it's more than that. This kind of magical power may not seem violent enough, but in fact, when it is actually used, its effect on Wu Yu is even more powerful. The most important thing next is to calm down. Only the magical power that can be successfully cultivated is the magical power that truly belongs to you. Ming Long recited the somersault cloud formula to him. In fact, when she was reciting, Wu Yu could vaguely feel the existence of the Ruyi golden cudgel again. Every word Ming Long said would appear on the Ruyi golden cudgel. Not only the ancient and mysterious words, but also some patterns and symbols. As Ming Long chanted, these patterns and symbols were changing, but these changes were deeply engraved in Wu Yu's mind. However, Wu Yu could still see that there were some black spots on the golden part of the Ruyi golden cudgel. Those black spots were struggling and trembling, vaguely forming the pattern of a giant beast. The heaven-devouring demon ancestor did not disappear, but stayed here. Moreover, she has been trying to escape. Maybe one day she will be able to escape. By then, Wu Yu would not be so lucky. However, this seems to have no influence. He reminded himself in his mind that the only way to deal with it was to have the ability to subdue her before she appeared again. Now when he was thinking about the somersault cloud, the Ruyi golden cudgel appeared, and Wu Yu actually felt like he was looking at each other with the heaven-devouring demon ancestor. She couldn't speak, but she saw Wu Yu. Invisibly, Wu Yu felt the frightening gaze. He focused his attention on the magical power somersault cloud and clearly memorized all the formulas, patterns, words, and symbol changes. A day later, Ming Long finished describing the three-layered somersault cloud, and Wu Yu settled down and deepened his memory. From this moment on, the Ruyi golden cudgel disappeared, and the gaze of the heaven-devouring demon ancestor could no longer be detected. 5 days later, although I haven't started practicing yet, I have basically memorized all the techniques and formulas very firmly and memorized them backwards and forwards. Wu Yu put down the second and third levels first. For him, the first level was the foundation and the most important, because he needed to let the somersault cloud be born before it could accompany him. Outside of the floating life tower, only 3 days have passed. 2 months inside and only 1 month outside. Only when Wu Yu truly understood the magical power that contained the great way of space was that it was difficult, and its degree of obscurity was much greater than that of the law, heaven, and earth. Among the 4 kinds of magical powers, the fiery eyes and golden eyes are the easiest, and the extra-legal clones have the least changes, so they are the easiest to cultivate. High Realm. In a short period of time, it is indeed difficult to achieve a breakthrough. Wu Yu believed that his ability to comprehend was transcendent, so he had enough patience and time to forget everything and immerse himself in this magical power. Occasionally, he came out to see the changes in Dongsheng Shenzhou, or to see Wu Yu. Occasionally, he would ask Princess Yuxiang about the situation in the Yanhuang ancient domain. After all, the closing day of the ancient immortal road was getting closer and closer, and there were still a few key figures who had not returned. All major forces were waiting for these young geniuses to return. 1 month, 2 months passed. When 4 months had passed inside the fusion tower, only 2 months had passed outside. During the 4 months, he concentrated on practicing, and he found that the somersault cloud was a bit like raising a child. The most difficult part was the process from nothing to something, and then letting it grow until it could really play a role. The key was in one word, that is, raising. In this regard, Minglong could also give Wu Yu some tips to help him avoid many detours. This was a magical power. He did not need to be proficient in the avenue of space. He only needed to plant this magical power on the last wall of the purple mansion Kanghai. Gradually, Wu Yu could experience that feeling. It was clearly a curve, but why could he reach his destination faster? He understood that perhaps the world we perceive is not what we see with our naked eyes. Perhaps it is complicated, even tortuous, and twisted. The straight line between 2 points seems to be the closest, but it is actually the real twisted one. The so-called twisted one may actually be the straightest line. It is just that normal people cannot see the twisting and turning of the world and think they have taken the closest path. In this way, even Dongsheng Shenzhou may not be the shape that Wu Yu can see from the sky. For example, there is a pillar. An ant wants to crawl from the left side of the pillar to the right side. Normal ants go around the cylinder to the right side. For the ant, this is indeed the shortest way. However, if an ant can get into the cylinder, easily pass through the inside, and reach the opposite side along the straight path, the journey is undoubtedly much shorter. The somersault cloud is the ability of the ant to bite the pillar. This is the space shuttle. Minglong made a metaphor. It was this metaphor that made Wu Yu clearly understand what the somersault cloud is. All people in the world are ordinary ants, but sitting on the somersault cloud can penetrate space. So the somersault cloud actually has little to do with speed itself. A metaphor is an epiphany. When you understand thoroughly and get the true principle, it is as if you have broken a huge barrier. After the epiphany, it will be very smooth. Not long after, a small white cloud appeared between Wu Yu's hands, only the size of a palm, swaying between his palms. Strangely, Wu Yu felt that this small white cloud was actually alive, like a newborn little animal, circling around Wu Yu happily, and occasionally rubbing against Wu Yu's face, very intimate. This was beyond Wu Yu's expectations. It was just like giving birth to a baby, but this is a magical power. Cute, right? I also had a good baby at the beginning. I named you Xuanhuan. I am her mother. Xuanhuan and I are very close and affectionate, but later it was gone. Wow, Minglong was moved by the scene and cried loudly. I practiced a magical skill, and then became its mother. This is really unbelievable. Minglong is really a unique guy. However, it is quite cute, like an older child who never grows up, and sometimes has a girlish heart. Of course, this little cloud flying around, without listening to the sound, you can know its joy. It is really interesting, and Wu Yu noticed that this little cloud can jump. The so-called jump is to suddenly disappear in one place and then appear in another place. For example, if it wants to move from Wu Yu's body from the left to the right, it will appear in the form of a dot, first on the left, suddenly disappear, then appear in front of him, disappear again, and then appear on the right. This is the magical power of the somersault cloud. The four great magical powers are indeed more mysterious than one. Quick, give it a name. If you don't, I will. As a father, the name you give can't be ugly, at least it should be similar to my Xuanhuan. Minglong wiped his tears and said hurriedly. Then you do it, Wu Yu said. No, I'm not its mother, Minglong pouted. In desperation, Wu Yu had to rack his brains to name this magical power, because Minglong helped him to figure it out. Then call it Xiao Do. Wu Yu thought for a long time and said. Tisk, it's really not as good as me, Minglong said proudly. Xiao Do, however, Wu Yu played with the somersault cloud and was in a good mood. What he wanted most now was to quickly cultivate the somersault cloud. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Heaven Swallowing Record. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 686. Chapter 679 Deep Sea Shark. The magic of this somersault cloud is so amazing that it seems like Wu Yu has really raised a pet. I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow diamond suit. No matter where he is, the somersault cloud either entangles him and flies, or simply hides in his clothes and scurries around. Ming Long was chuckling at it. However, Wu Yu still regards cultivating it as his first goal now, so that he can really handle the first level. Wu Yu has already understood the most difficult part. The cultivation of this magical power also requires certain resources, among which the Dao Yuan Shen pill can be used. Wu Yu has just obtained a lot of pills from the Little Prince and others, and at this time, in order to cultivate the somersault cloud, he is not stingy at all. Resources are only a small part of it. The larger part is Wu Yu's own understanding and practice of this magical power, which requires a long time of thinking, research, and outstanding understanding. It requires a very deep degree of Tao. Wu Yu stayed in the floating life tower and practiced it day by day. As expected, the somersault cloud's ayata grew with his progress. When the somersault cloud turned into a ball of white cloud, it was enough for Wu Yu to sit on it. This proved that Wu Yu had successfully practiced the first level of this fourth magical power. Because it was in the floating life tower, the time spent was halved, mainly because the epiphany was timely, so it did not take up too much time. During this period of time, nothing happened in Dongsheng Shenzhou. He was not in a hurry to leave, but continued to think about the second level of this somersault cloud. The second level of this somersault cloud is a greater degree of jump, compared with the first level, the degree is greater. I heard from Ming Long that it can jump out of the barrier of Wangxiantai, and even all the magic arrays in this world, and even many walls, can't stop Wu Yu. He understood it as, this means jumping into another world in an instant, then transferring in this world, and finally jumping back to the world of Yama. Maybe that is a world of nothingness, maybe it only takes a moment there, but this kind of jump can really save your life. This requires that I know Xiao Dou very well. Only then can I merge with it and reach the level of escaping from many constraints. If it is only the first level, it can only speed up, but it cannot break through the confinement. Xiao Dou is the somersault cloud itself. Wu Yu still needs it. Wu Yu has the most fundamental understanding of the Tao contained in the somersault cloud. There is no shortcut, and he needs to spend a lot of time to figure it out. At this time, Wu Yu is ready to go. He needs to use the somersault cloud more to truly merge with it. It's time to leave here. In fact, this day should have come a long time ago. Dongsheng Shenzhou has always been very peaceful, but Wu Yu learned from Princess Yuyan that what happened in Yanhuang Emperor City has actually spread all over the world. However, after a thorough investigation, there was no movement from the devouring demon ancestor. Most people still believed that the devouring demon ancestor could not possibly survive until now. Goodbye. He sat on the somersault cloud, flew up to the clouds, let the somersault cloud merge with the clouds, and then began to move forward. In Wu Yu's hand, there was a map of the entire Yama world, which was also obtained from the Little Prince and his friends. There were several copies, each with detailed places. By comparing them, Wu Yu roughly knew the direction he was heading. And he also knew how many sea demon territories he would pass along the way. Generally speaking, it is safest to pass through the adjacent positions of the territories of two sea demons, and it is most dangerous to accidentally enter someone else's territory. The somersault cloud hid above the clouds, and the movement was very small. Wu Yu sat cross-legged on it, and he didn't need to use his brain at all, let alone spend much energy. The somersault cloud rushed towards the direction of the Beiming Empire at an unprecedented speed. In front of him, everything was white. The first time he was on the road, Xiao Dou was very excited. He tried his best to roar in the clouds. Wu Yu could not see how he shuttled and jumped with his naked eyes to him. He had always been in the world of Yama. Moreover, he could also feel that the somersault cloud was bending and moving forward. But even if it was bending, the speed of advancement was still the fastest, even incredible. Wu Yu simply closed his eyes and used his body to experience the shuttle changes of the somersault cloud. Soon, he felt that it was actually jumping every moment when it was moving forward. The speed was extremely fast, so Wu Yu could hardly feel it clearly. What you need to grasp is the feeling of the somersault cloud. The Tao in this aspect is too deep, but you only need to understand the basics when you use your magical powers. When you can understand the basics, the second level should not be a problem after all. Although the effects of these two levels are not very different, the second level is actually a big improvement on the first level, and it is the biggest jump. Understood? Grasp the Tao contained in this change, and understand and find the meaning of this change. The road to seeking the truth is indeed boring. Wu Yu devoted himself to it. The somersault cloud was responsible for driving the way, while he was responsible for experiencing every subtle change of the jump. More importantly, he was looking for and truly felt the space or world that the somersault cloud could travel through. What is that place? Only if it corresponds to the world we see now can we travel through it. Or, it's not just one or two times that can get the answer. Wu Yu enters and exits it hundreds of thousands of times every day, but he has no feeling for the time being. He just feels the speed of the somersault cloud, which seems to be really fast. Days pile up one by one. This test is about understanding and perseverance, both of which are indispensable. Understanding without perseverance is not good. Only perseverance, but a fool who can't understand is not good either. This chapter is not finished yet. Please click on the next page to continue reading the exciting content. Fortunately, Wu Yu is excellent in both aspects. He is confident that he can make his somersault cloud reach the second level and make Ming Long look at him with new eyes. After all, it is still a long way to reach the Beiming Empire. Wu Yu has given an order to Princess Yuyan. When Wu Yu is about to arrive, Princess Yuyan will wait for Wu Yu at the northernmost port of the Beiming Empire, the extreme north cold fairy city. He planned to use the time on the road to hurry on. If he didn't want to figure out the second level of the somersault cloud and needed to understand it better, he could let the somersault cloud lead the floating life tower forward. Just like Ming Long said, if you regard the somersault cloud as a magical power, it will be difficult to understand. If you regard it as a small beast, you will be closer and understand it better invisibly. This was Ming Long's experience at the beginning. She probably took a lot of detours. At the beginning, she just regarded the somersault cloud as a magical power. With the guidance of predecessors, and top perseverance and understanding, Wu Yu gradually found some rules in the somersault cloud's hundreds of millions, or even billions of times of jumping. He seemed to be able to see a gray world. That world was chaotic and disordered, and the somersault cloud took him in and out instantly every time. These countless times gradually constructed a different world. What Wu Yu wanted to do was to control the somersault cloud and let himself stay in that world for a while longer. The somersault cloud can do it, but Wu Yu can't, because that doesn't seem to be a place where he can survive. He can feel the disappearance of life as long as he stays there for a moment. That kind of death is very terrifying. But fortunately, Wu Yu persisted, and the way to persist was to merge himself with the somersault cloud, or in other words, the somersault cloud merged into his skin, forming a layer of cloud film to protect him, so that he could stay in that world for a little longer, and a little time, at their speed, could not be transferred to a distance. A somersault, 1,000 miles. The more skilled he is, the more like a little beast Xiao Dou is, and he even regards Wu Yu as his father. In Wu Yu's heart, the somersault cloud is like a clever and eccentric child, and it is no longer a little beast. With the second level of the formula, in the Epiphany, he constantly performs and advances, and the deeper his understanding is, the closer the connection between him and the somersault cloud is, and the Xiaodo does not reject the idea of merging his body into Wu Yu's skin, so that he and the somersault cloud merge together. After a somersault, he looked carefully and realized that he had indeed crossed an incredible distance. Although this second level cannot be used frequently and consumes a lot of energy, if he thinks carefully, even if he cannot avoid the opponent's attack during a battle, wouldn't he disappear in front of the opponent with this somersault? No wonder Ming Long said that when Wu Yu succeeded in the second level, his chance of survival would increase tenfold. He was not proficient in the second level, so Wu Yu continued to hone himself in the white cloud. The white clouds were very low, and under the white clouds was the vast sea, where sea monsters often moved in the depths of the sea. Wu Yu advanced rapidly according to the map, and was far above the clouds, walking in places where sea monsters were rare. In order to avoid unnecessary entanglement with sea monsters, he had already made a big detour. But fortunately, the somersault cloud was fast and did not delay him. On this day, Wu Yu was still practicing this magical power. Suddenly, he heard a huge movement under the clouds. He stopped moving forward, pushed aside the clouds and looked down. He saw the vast sea below. At this time, the sea was rolling with huge waves. The whole sea was in the storm, violently erupting, and hundreds of millions of sea water and waves were madly sweeping, rushing up to the sky, and almost rushing to the clouds. When he looked under this chaotic sea with his fiery eyes, he could clearly see that there were thousands of giant beasts in the deep sea. Those giant beasts were all sea demons. They were huge and in groups. They had sharp teeth and their bodies were like arrows, piercing the deep sea with great momentum. If it was not unexpected, it should be a group of shark demons. This reminded Wu Yu of the immortal shark. With so many demons, where are they going? Seeing this magnificent scene, Wu Yu couldn't help but be extremely curious. The main reason was that there were too many shark demons. If he acted rashly now, he might attract the attention of the strong ones. Among these thousands of monsters, there are some top-notch powerful ones. Heaven-swallowing record. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 687. Thousands of sea monsters, from north to south, tore through the sea and swarmed away. The huge movement caused by these monsters was like a disaster. This world of Yama is not the ancient immortal road. There are many monsters here who have practiced for a long time, so many of them are very powerful, some for hundreds or thousands of years. Their bloodlines are generally much higher than those of the monsters in Dongsheng Shenzhou, because even in the depths of this endless sea, there are many places where spiritual energy erupts and is extremely rich. Some of the caves and blessed places in the deep sea are even more profound than the treasures above the ancient domain of Yanhuang. Many giant beasts become monsters in them and open their spiritual wisdom. Eternal life. Eternal life. Wu Yu was shocked to see the scene of the monsters rushing collectively. He could vaguely hear each monster repeating these two words. Eternal life. Eternal life monster. Wu Yu took out the map and saw that the direction they were heading in was far away from a place called Eternal Life Sea, where the Eternal Life monster clan was entrenched. The immortal shark before was one of them. These demons, in groups, are probably going to visit or worship the Eternal Demon clan. In this endless sea, the strong are respected. This is his estimate. No one should know that the Eternal Shark died in my hands. Moreover, it is said that the devouring demon ancestor may escape. Now no one in Dongsheng Shenzhou is willing to take risks, especially demons. The devouring demon ancestor is said to like demons with a lot of flesh and blood the most. Wu Yu just waited for them to rush over and continued on his way. There were many old demons below, and some of them were even extremely sensitive. Wu Yu hid and did not move, but he did not expect that someone would notice their traces. Who is this evil beast? Dare to follow us? In the vast sea, a roar suddenly came, shaking the waves to sweep around wildly. At the same time, A white shark demon that covered the sky and the sun rushed out of the vast sea and locked the direction of Wu Yu. He opened his huge mouth, and in the blink of an eye, he was about to completely swallow Wu Yu and the surrounding clouds. When he opened his mouth, his Taoist magic was actually used, which brought great pressure to Wu Yu invisibly. This is definitely a strong man that Wu Yu cannot deal with. Maybe he is an elder of a certain clan, and maybe he has the strength close to the three disasters asking for the way. At the critical moment, Wu Yu could only run for his life. I didn't expect that the first batch of sea monsters would be so terrible. It is conceivable that there are so many strong people in the Yanhuang ancient domain. They are all fighting to become immortals. Fortunately, at this time, Wu Yu had just cultivated the somersault cloud to the second level. At this time, Wu Yu quickly merged with the somersault cloud. When the other party opened its mouth to swallow him, Wu Yu flipped outward, and the restraints on his body disappeared instantly. He easily entered another world. Although he passed through this completely empty world, after he got out and flipped over, he was already far away from his original position. Here, he could only see the distant sea, which seemed to be moving. It's really scary, but Xiadu is more powerful, Wu Yu had to sigh. The somersault cloud made a contribution and was even more excited at this time. It circled around Wu Yu, then lifted Wu Yu up and headed towards the originally set route, and left. For the group of shark monsters, Wu Yu basically disappeared out of thin air. After this experience, Wu Yu became more confident in the somersault cloud. Unfortunately, he now needs to constantly consolidate the second level. As for the third level, Ming Long didn't know much. He took a quick look and was completely confused. With his current realm, it was really too difficult to rush to the third level again. After looking at the map, they are about halfway to the northern Ming Empire, and 2 months have passed. Calculated, there is only 1 or 2 months left before the closing of the ancient Immortal Road. There are still some people who have not returned yet, such as Juxing Suechi, Feng Guangzi, King Gu Yunsi, and others. In fact, the forces they belong to were very confident in them at the beginning, but now it is not far from the end, and they still have not returned, which makes many of their elders worried. They know that most people left the ancient Immortal Road at Thunder Mountain. So, they also asked everywhere if anyone knew the news of these top talents. They are the future of the world of Yamafu. However, most of what they know is stopped at Thunder Mountain. At the same level, it is rumored that Emperor Li has died, and only Princess Yuxiang has returned. So many people asked Princess Yuxiang about the whereabouts of others through the northern Ming Empire. Princess Yuxuan knew that someone would ask her, and she had prepared a story. In fact, no one who saw the immortal watching platform came out alive, so she just made up a story and claimed that she didn't see them. She herself was besieged by a group of electric snakes and had to come out. No one thought that Princess Yuxuan would lie about this matter, and no one knew that there were so many inside stories, so their attention was not on Princess Yuxuan, but on continuing to wait. While they were waiting, Wu Yu gradually approached the Beiming Empire. And Princess Yuxuan was about to leave for the extreme north cold fairy city. The remaining time was just to hurry, and Wu Yu lay on the somersault cloud, above the clouds and mist, basking in the sun, and lazily headed towards the Beiming Empire. His cultivation of somersault cloud has now reached a bottleneck, and it is difficult to move forward for the time being. Now he was resting his arms on his head, feeling the somersault clouds passing by, and the scorching sun shining on his face. After this for a period of time, which made it difficult to open his eyes, Wu Yu suddenly remembered something. By the way, my second magical power, the fiery eyes and golden eyes, has not improved for a long time, but after experiencing it so far, I may not be able to understand and comprehend the fourth level of the golden eyes realm. In fact, Wu Yu had achieved certain achievements in this magical power some time ago. Unfortunately, he was always in a place where he did not directly face the scorching sun day. Even if there was, it was not a real sun. That is the sun of Teku Immortal Road. Now, the sun of Jambu world shines on his eyes. He lies on the clouds and looks at the sun. Going to the Biming Empire was quite a detour. It would take Wu Yu at least 2 months to arrive. During the remaining time, he had nothing to do. He simply lay upright on the somersault cloud, looked directly at the sun, and went to forge. Golden Eye's Realm. The Golden Eye Realm is not the same as the previous 3 levels. Compared with training, it requires a certain amount of understanding. The 3rd level, Penetration of the Sun, is to instantly compress the true fire of the sun to achieve the purpose of explosion, while the Golden Eye Realm is more advanced. This requires long-term accumulation, truly transforming the eyes, and allowing the birth of golden eyes in the eyes. The Eye Realm, that is, there are 2 worlds in the eyes. And during the battle, the Golden Eye Realm can be released. If there is the sun in the sky at that time, the power of the Golden Eye Realm can still be replenished. Even if there is not, it's also a fatal area that belongs to me. In my Golden Eye Realm, I have to withstand the burning power as powerful as the sun all the time. Its Taoist magical power can also give me the fastest decipherment and insight, even losing secrets in front of my eyes. If the sky is staring at the scorching sun during the battle, then the power of the Golden Eye Realm will be stronger. However, the difficulty is that we really have to forge a world in a pair of eyes. When the time comes, the double Golden Eye Realms will be superimposed. If somersault clouds can cultivate to the 3rd level in the future, they will be 2 realms. It was difficult, but Wu Yu was not in a hurry. Because he can lie on the somersault cloud and slowly use his eyes to communicate with the sun in the sky. Everything has spirit. The sun illuminates all things, which is so important to the entire world. Wu Yu has always believed that this is the source of power for all things. It is like being a god, looking at him and pondering the way of the sun. He did not recite and understand the formulas first, but looked at the sun day after day. He felt that the sun was looking at him again. Perhaps, only by looking at each other like this can I truly understand the way that belongs to him. This is where his understanding stands out. Sometimes, when he has a flash of inspiration, he knows what to do, and it will be easier for him to achieve breakthroughs. When Ming Tong saw him doing this, he secretly admired him and said to himself, "This kid is still smart, why didn't I think of it before? Hey, all the treasures have been taken advantage of by him. What a scam. These are originally mine." Then the Monkey King, does he really not like women? The luck has gone to Wu Yu. If only I were a boy. Yes, that's good. Ming Long started to daydream again. Thinking of the 3,000 harem makes my mouth water. As time goes by, it can be seen that Wu Yu, who is lying on top of the somersault cloud, has his eyes becoming more and more similar to the scorching Sunday inside the scorching sun. You can always see that there seems to be an endless huge world, with endless flames were burning, and they were gradually visible in Wu Yu's eyes. You can even see some small black particles, some of which are like waves, but they are solidified flame waves. He did not recite the mantra of the Golden Eye Realm, but naturally everything about the Golden Eye Realm appeared in his mind. Countless sunlight also gathered in his eyes. In the following time, every day during the day, he was sucking in the real fire of the sun. What is incredible is that so much energy entered his eyes, but it did not burst him. Eyeball. At night, a pair of blazing sun-like eyes shined in his eyes. He had to enter the fusion tower, otherwise his eyes would have to shine as brightly as during the day even if they were thousands of miles away. When the Golden Eyes realm gradually took shape, Princess Yuking had been waiting for him in the ultra-north cold fairy city, and he and Somersault Cloud were also leisurely wandering, constantly approaching this place, and the closer they got, the more he felt the more Princess Yuking arrived, the clearer it became. One day, I looked up and saw the Yanhuang ancient territory right in front of me. Heaven-swallowing record. Author, Feng Qing Yang. Chapter 688. In the territory of the Biming Empire, all national borders have array boundaries. This array boundary has been passed down since ancient times. Like the sex protective array, it can defend and even attack, blocking outsiders from entering the Biming Empire's national borders. Every Xiaoxian dynasty has a national boundary array. Although the national boundary array is huge and has a vast territory, blocking all borders, the sky and the ground, it is actually because of its long inheritance and reinforcement from generation to generation. It can be said to be airtight. Not to mention the Yuanshen Huaxing realm, even the three disasters asking for the Wei realm, it is not necessarily possible to forcibly break through the national boundary array and enter other Xiaoxian dynasties. Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. Not only does it require top strength, but it also requires certain methods of breaking the array, or other means. It may be possible to forcefully break in, but it will basically cause a commotion and attract the attention of the strong men of the Biming Empire. However, Wu Yu's second level of somersault cloud is possible to jump directly into the national border without attracting attention. But this requires great skill, because the national border array may be very thick, and the border may be hundreds of miles in the range of the array. If you jump into the national border array on the somersault cloud, it will be a tragedy. This cannot be tried lightly. Of course, every Xiaoxian dynasty cannot close the country, so there will be many frontier cities on the border, and you can enter the national border through the city. Each frontier city is the national gate of the Xiaoxian dynasty. Extreme North Cold Ferry City is such a city. It is one of the entrances of the Biming Empire in the northern seas. It is an important town in the north. The demons from the northern seas are obviously hoarded here. A large number of strong men from the Biming Empire. In this era, it is difficult to fight a great battle of immortals, unless there is a treasure that makes the top strong men covetous. The existence of the extreme North Cold Ferry City also plays a very important role in consolidating the national boundary formation of this territory. In this dark and cold sea, Wu Yu saw an endless land in the distance. Although he couldn't tell how much bigger it was than Dongsheng Shenzhou, the shocking feeling at the first sight was still far beyond Dongsheng Shenzhou. It was a huge monster, pouncing on this vast sea, and Wu Yu was like a speck of dust in front of the monster. Yanhuang Ancient Domain, magnificent, heavy, and vast. Wu Yu couldn't think of any other way to describe the feeling that Yanhuang Ancient Domain gave him. Anyway, his heart was extremely hot. This was really a world that could make him, at this moment, excited. Too vast, too magnificent. Of course, what he could see was only a very small part of the Yanhuang Ancient Domain. And in this part, the extreme North Cold Ferry City, like a gem in the dark night, occupied most of the vision. Looking at the North Ming Empire from afar, it was shrouded in a dark, cold, and deep place, while the extreme North Cold Ferry City was shining with colorful light, like a huge colorful gem, shining in the night sky. Only with a sharp eye could one see that it was not a gem, but a city. However, it was much larger and more magnificent than the Yanhuang Emperor City. In that city, one could feel tens of millions of magic arrays drawn on all the rocks shining with fluorescent light. The colorful walls, seemingly magnificent, actually had unimaginable lethality. This city allowed Wu Yu to see the heyday of the North Ming Empire. From this, it can be seen that the ancient country of Yanhuang must be even more glorious. The ancient country of Yanhuang was, of course, a place that Wu Yu yearned for, but he was not sure to go there yet. He headed towards the extreme North Cold Ferry City. In fact, the extreme North Cold Ferry City seemed to be in front of him, but in fact it was still very far away. He was running to the mountain and dying, but fortunately the somersault cloud was fast enough. Wu Yu couldn't wait to climb the ancient domain of Yanhuang. He always felt that Dongsheng Shenzhou was not a place that could support him to become an immortal, and Yanhuang Ancient Domain, where immortals were born in large numbers, was the place where he pursued his dreams. Only here could he have the same status and identity as Luo Bin and truly become a Taoist couple. Although some of them came for Luo Bin, the one who greeted Wu Yu on the city gate and city wall of the extreme north cold fairy city was not Luo Bin, but Princess Yuqian, who had a different style. The city wall of the extreme north cold fairy city was not the traditional city wall of the mortal fairyland, but a colorful disc embedded in the national boundary array. This disc was like a vortex of clouds gathered together, blocking Wu Yu's eyes. Only through here could he enter the Beiming Empire. The surroundings of the colorful disc seemed transparent, but in fact, that was the area covered by the national boundary array. If he rashly broke in, he would definitely be killed. Princess Yuyan, just behind the colorful disc gate, when Wu Yu gradually approached the colorful vortex, a colorful cloud passage appeared in the center of the vortex. The diameter of this passage was only a few feet, just enough for Wu Yu to enter. If it weren't for Princess Yuyan, Wu Yu would not have been able to enter here. He seized the time, controlled the somersault cloud, and rushed into the passage at the center of the disc with a whoosh. After a few miles, he passed the round platform and came to the North Ming Empire, the North Cold Fairy City. In front of him, a bridge with dark green light appeared, leading to a platform in the distance. When the colorful vortex behind him closed again, Wu Yu looked up and saw that there were dozens of people standing on the platform, and Princess Yuyan was among them. Finally met again. Wu Yu found excitement and joy in the crowd, looking at his Princess Yuyan. Behind those dozens of people, there are several barriers. Only by passing through these barriers can one truly enter the extreme North Cold Fairy City. These people are all here to welcome Wu Yu, but Wu Yu is a little overwhelmed because this group of people is too strong. They are not young cultivators, and they have hundreds of years of cultivation. Although the team has only dozens of people, they are almost the same as the people of the Flame Dragon Legion that Wu Yu met last time in Dongsheng Shenzhou. Obviously, these are the elite cultivators of the Beiming Empire who guard the extreme North Cold Fairy City. There are many old people among them, and it is estimated that they will be close to the end of their lives in a few decades, but it must be admitted that at this time, they are very experienced and have a terrible killing power. Wu Yu estimates that some of them are not in the Yuan Shen waxing realm. They should have reached a new level, a level of impacting immortality, that is, the three disasters asking the way realm. It seems that Princess Yuyan's status in the Beiming Empire is indeed very high, and the other people killed by Wu Yu do not seem to be bad either. When he saw so many strong men, all centered around Princess Yuyan, he knew what a crazy thing he had done on the Wangxian Terrace. However, next to Princess Yuyan, there was a woman who caught Wu Yu's attention, because Princess Yuyan was standing sideways behind her. This was also the most terrifying one among the group of people for Wu Yu, and gave him a feeling no less than that of the golden-haired, one-armed old man in the Yanlong Legion. This should be a woman who has been practicing Taoism for 200 or 300 years. For her, she is considered to have entered middle age, but no matter how you look at it, it is her best age. She looks very young, but not lacking in mature charm. She is a little similar to Princess Yuyan, but she is more domineering, more charming, and more charming. In terms of appearance, it is naturally the best. In fact, when practicing Taoism to this level, sometimes appearance is not important. The advanced realm itself can make a woman more outstanding. Appearance is only one aspect. The change in temperament brought by status and strength is the most fascinating and eye-catching. For example, this woman is more charming than Princess Yuyan, and is one of the best women Wu Yu has ever seen. It is difficult to divert his eyes from her delicate body and cheeks. Wu Yu soon knew who she was. He was so close that he could easily know all of Princess Yuyan's thoughts. Nothing in her mind could escape Wu Yu's eyes. This person is the mayor of this extreme North Cold Fairy City. People here respectfully call her Yuan City Lord. Her name is Yuan. She has another identity, that is, the younger sister of the current emperor of the Beiming Empire, one of the eldest princesses, and the aunt of Princess Yuyan. She loves Yuyan very much and has a good relationship with Yuyan. Princess Yuyan often comes to the extreme north cold fairy city where she guards to play and practice. She also spent a lot of time in her childhood here. This is also the reason why she let Wu Yu enter the Biming Empire from here. The Lord of Yuyuan City is known as the Frosty Fairy of the North in the Biming Empire. He was outstanding at a young age, and now he is one of the backbone forces of the Biming Empire. He has never relied on beauty to guard this important town. Such a big man can come to welcome Wu Yu, of course, because of Princess Yuyan. Wu Yu, come here. When Wu Yu appeared, Princess Yuyan waved to him hurriedly. Wu Yu had already told her that he came to the Biming Empire as a friend. Princess Yuyan should have told others that they helped each other in the ancient Immortal Road and had a deep pretense, so Wu Yu came to her. So in front of others, Wu Yu still had to act as Princess Yuyan's staff, and could not steal the show and arouse others' suspicion. However, she should also understand where she should protect Wu Yu. After all, the soul control blood formation still exists. Wu Yu calmed down and strode forward. He had the courage to move forward under the gaze of so many powerful people. He first bowed to Princess Yuxiang, and then said to the Lord of Yuyuan City in the center, "I am Wu Yu, and I meet Lord Yuan." He lowered his head slightly, but he knew that Yuyuan's eyes were penetrating his body and looking deep into his body, as if to see through all of Wu Yu's secrets. "I have heard of your name. It has been inexplicably loud during this period. You just told me these 2 days that you are going to come to the Biming Empire. This is really unexpected. You have already made an appointment, right?" The face of Lord Yuan City could not tell whether he liked or disliked Wu Yu. Before Wu Yu answered, Princess Yuxiang said coquettishly, "Aunt, don't scare him. He just came to me because he has nowhere to go. I told you long ago that you can't embarrass him." Sure enough, acting like a spoiled child is a woman's weapon. "Comrades, hello. I want to report to you all that last year, Fengzi and his girlfriend of 4 years got married, but they haven't taken wedding photos. They've been very busy and have no days off. In the past 2 or 3 days, just after the Mid-Autumn Festival, we prepared to take wedding photos. It's been delayed for a year. There have been a few updates in the past 2 days, but I count 2 updates every day. I owe another chapter today. I'm a little tired after running all day, but marriage only happens once in a lifetime, and it's worth remembering. I owe 5 chapters now. It will be all done around the 24th of this month. No matter how much I owe, I will pay it all back before this month, and there will be extra updates. In the next few days, please give Fengzi some time and patience. Blessings for love. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Heaven Swallowing Record. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 689. Anyone with a discerning eye would know that Princess Yukin was very protective of Wu Yu. Xuanhuan? R-A-N-E-N. After all, this city gate leading to the northern sea is even a national gate. It requires the consent of the Hangxian city lord before it can be opened to let Wu Yu in. If Princess Yuxuan hadn't pestered her aunt, how could Yuyuan, the lord of Hangxian city, have the time and energy to come over in person in the midst of his busy schedule and let Wu Yu come to the Biming Empire? Wu Yu has become somewhat famous recently. It is rumored that he has made huge gains in the Teiku Immortal Road. Moreover, the recent events on the Dongsheng Divine Continent are also related to the news he spread on the Teiku Immortal Road. Therefore, the elders in the monastic world who are present are, the important ministers of Hangxian city in the far north of the Biming Empire were all impressed by the name Wu Yu, and were quite interested in it. After all, with their hundreds of years of experience and vision, they could tell at a glance that Wu Yu's realm was actually only the Zifu Kanghai realm. They really couldn't imagine how the Zifu-Kanghai realm could be surpassed by rumors. The strength of many geniuses in the metamorphosis realm. In fact, after looking at Wu Yu for a while, the Lord of Yuyuan City was secretly talking to Princess Yuyuan. She said expressionlessly, "Yuyuan, I usually protect you and let you go, but now this matter, I have to ask clearly, is the relationship between Wu Yu and you really that good?" Princess Yuking said, "Auntie, don't worry about it. He has helped me several times on the Teiku Immortal Road. We really have a good relationship. He was born in Dongsheng Shenzhou, which is a deserted land. Such achievements are already very impressive. The reason why he came to us is because he is familiar with me, and he also wants to find his way to becoming an immortal in the Yanhuang ancient territory. The Yanhuang ancient kingdom is so big, can it really not accommodate him?" Yuyuan said. "I've told you that he is at odds with several people in the Yanhuang ancient kingdom, and the death of Emperor Yu's son has something to do with him. How could he dare to go to the Yanhuang ancient kingdom?" Princess Yuking was a little anxious. Na Yuyuan was unmoved for the time being. In fact, she had been observing Wu Yu. At this time, she said, "I see this Wu Yu. From your description, he seems to be very strong physically. He also grabbed the spiritual Taoist weapon and has the ability to transcend the fighting power of many realms is unprecedented, and even unprecedented. Let me tell you, this kind of person usually has rare and valuable treasures in his body. It may even be of great use to me. He must have a transcendent secret. In my opinion, if you can crack his secret, if you can have what he has, at least people of your age will definitely not be as good as you. It is possible to become a fairy in the future." She never forgot to observe and wanted to see through Wu Yu, but she failed for the time being. But based on her experience, this boy is indeed not simple. It aroused her strong curiosity about its Sumuru bag and its young and strong body. "And I have already said that he is my good friend, and I promised to protect him. I am the princess of the Beiming Empire, how can I go back on my promise? Let alone harm my own friends. Moreover, he also treats me as a friend. If he becomes stronger in the future, he can also help me." Princess Yuking's face was red and she argued hard. In fact, Wu Yu knew everything about their exchange. What Princess Yuking was thinking could not escape Wu Yu's perception. The first time he saw her, he was indeed fighting for himself. Wu Yu's last doubts about the soul-controlling blood formation were basically gone. Princess Yuking had indeed figured it out and she wanted to live. When Yu Chong became anxious, Yu Yuan seemed to understand better. Her eyes were a little serious and she said, "Chen, don't be anxious. I don't mean to make you unkind. In fact, I can understand your current thoughts. After all, I have been here before, so how can I not see through your little thoughts? However, it comes a bit suddenly. You are still young and don't know what is really suitable for you. You are easily impulsive. Auntie just wants to remind you, no matter how much you love me now, you still need to think more about it. Is he really suitable for you? Is he willing to work for the Beiming Empire? Is he worthy of you?" This is obviously talking about another aspect. However, it makes sense for Yuyuan to think so, because friendship alone is not enough to make Princess Yuyuan so anxious. She has never been like this, and she has never had any friends since she was a child. It is indeed normal for young women to take risks for the first time, then fight side by side and develop feelings for each other. Yuyuan even had the same experience when she was young. She had no idea that the real reason was that the soul-controlling blood formation was so cruel. This also proves that she doesn't know about the soul-controlling blood formation. After reminding Yu Kang, the Lord of Hangxian City nodded to Wu Yu and said, "You are a guest from afar, so let Yu Kang receive you. You can wander around our Hangxian City and see the scenery of our Beiming Empire. I'll wait for you to return. If you have anything to do, leave first." Of course they didn't come here specifically to wait for Wu Yu, they just stopped by and opened the door for Wu Yu. After all, Princess Yuking had been working hard for a long time. After saying that, the Lord of Hangxian City left quickly with a large number of important officials and disappeared before Wu Yu's eyes. Probably for convenience, Princess Yuyuan did not bring any attendants. After Yuyuan left, she and the many guards guarding the country's borders were left here. Those guards, with their iron faces as cold as ice, stood motionless in the wind and snow. Looking around, there were tens of thousands of ascetics in the several layers of city gates. The city gates at the back were basically open for the time being. Princess Yuking raised her fingers towards Wu Yu and smiled coquettishly. Wu Yu followed her footsteps, the two of them staggered slightly, one in front of the other. Finally, after passing through those city gates, we finally entered the prosperous, vast, ice-covered and snow-covered far north cold fairy city, which was full of gems and crystals. The huge city, the wide streets, the crystal-like magic circles everywhere, and the monks flying around are all full of an exotic atmosphere. The first time he came to the city in the Yanhuang ancient territory, Wu Yu felt a little eye-opening when he saw all the wonders along the way. Maybe outside, we need to keep the way we are now, otherwise, others will be suspicious. However, if it is a deserted place, I am still your slave, and you can do whatever you ask walking on the road. Yu Qi the princess leaned close to his ear and poured out her words about Orchid, with a slight tremor in her voice. When she spoke, her thoughts had already formed in her mind, so Wu Yu actually knew what she meant before she finished speaking. Wu Yu stared at her and said, "Are you afraid that I will come to the Beiming Empire? If I don't come, you will still be quite free." Just after asking, Wu Yu knew the answer to the question from the other party's reaction. She meant that she had been prepared when she planted the soul-controlling blood formation, so it was expected now. Seeing that she was a little timid, Wu Yu said, "Don't be nervous, I'm not a perverted maniac. As long as you don't want to retaliate against me, I will make you a friend and a helper, and I will never give you any extraordinary orders. We can help each other and coexist peacefully." Hearing this, Princess Yuking was very happy, but she still seemed to accept her fate, saying, "Thank you very much for respecting me, but the soul-controlling blood formation already exists. I have thought clearly about it. In fact, this matter can be changed from another angle. I think, it's not too bad, you are not a bad person, and I witnessed your methods on the Taku Immortal Road, and I know that you will definitely not be an ordinary person in the future. I put my life on you, and I am tied to a rope from now on. Grasshopper, if you die, I will die. This is already the case. I might as well try my best to hope that you will be better and stronger, so that I can also benefit. Maybe the future will be better, no matter what. It's better than being killed by you on Taku Immortal Road, right?" I didn't expect that she could think about this matter so clearly. You are right. Rather than death, you should place your hopes on Wu Yu's kindness and endless potential. As long as she has these two things, she will actually have a pretty good future, especially in terms of Wu Yu's personal character. At least from the current point of view, Wu Yu's you didn't even think about torturing her. Therefore, what she thought was that no matter what, Wu Yu's bottom line must not be touched, otherwise everything would be over. Wu Yu's bottom line is obviously to take revenge on him. And Wu Yu knew everything she was thinking about. The soul-controlling blood formation was just so terrifying. After communicating these clearly, Wu Yu finally felt relieved. He was sure that from now on, Princess Yuking would become the person who defended him the most. If that was the case, he wouldn't mind and would be nicer to her. After all, the soul-controlling blood formation itself was cruel. Wu Yu admired her courage to survive. Now, she brought Wu Yu into the prosperous and vast country of Beiming Empire. Wu Yu has walked to the wide streets here, and there are shops of monks everywhere. This is indeed an empire where all people cultivate immortality. Even the waiters in the restaurants and tea houses have the strength of Jindan Avenue. This is just a frontier city. With sharp eyes, Wu Yu looked around like a countryman entering the city. Those shops that cultivate immortals were full of dazzling products, including Taoist magic, magic tools, elixirs, fairy spirits, treasures, and so on. Even the carpets placed on the street were of Taoist level, and fairies with several spiritual patterns were placed all over the floor. In a country like this, if you were in the Qi condensation realm, you wouldn't dare to look up at anyone. Wu Yu's behavior was a bit funny, but it was difficult for him to become serious and said, "Someone is following us." Princess Yuking said, "Maybe it's Yueli." "Who is this?" "One of my aunt's men is very good at hiding her whereabouts, and you were able to discover her." Princess Yuking was surprised. "Your aunt? Did she let people spy on me?" Wu Yu was a little unhappy, but he also knew that Yuyuan didn't have any good intentions towards him, and he was also worried that Princess Yuyuan would fall in love with him. In fact, he was mentally prepared that if things continued like this, many people might think that they were a Taoist couple. It may even be impossible to clarify. However, they knew each other that this was not possible, and that was okay. For the time being, Wu Yu still needs the identity of Princess Yukin. Of course, as long as the other party is willing to cooperate, he will not treat her badly. However, what if this person named Yu Li finds any clues? Chores done. Too late, one more chapter owed. Normal updates will resume tomorrow. All chapters owed will be paid starting on the 25th. This time, I am very confident that I can return it quickly. Heaven Swallowing Record. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 690. However, Wu Yu is still not too worried. After all, as long as Princess Yuking protects him and does not seek death, nothing will happen to him. If Princess Yuking wanted to trick him into the Beiming Empire and then deal with him, or use some method to crack the soul-controlling blood formation, Wu Yu would have known about it. It can be seen that Princess Yuking's status in the Beiming Empire is extremely high. Along the way, a large number of people will look at her from time to time, but then immediately look away, with eyes full of awe. They dare not look at her. Obviously, this is not the first time she has appeared in Hangxian City. Most people knew her and stepped out of the way for her. Wu Yu naturally received a lot of curious looks, because he was a stranger, so no one knew him at all. Who is this person? He can follow the princess. I don't know. His level doesn't seem to be high, but he is very young and his talent is probably outstanding. Maybe he is the descendant of some big shot. I'm so envious of my noble birth. They only dared to discuss it quietly, and Wu Yu also vaguely heard it. Why does this person seem to be here for the first time? He's looking around. Some people also raised questions like this. This was indeed the case for Wu Yu. After all, this was a brand new world for him. When the Lord of Yanhuang City described this place to him, he was full of yearning. Moreover, this is actually Minglong's hometown. After walking quickly through the streets for a few days and getting a little familiar with the monastic world that is everywhere here, Princess Yuking asked him, "What are your plans?" "No matter what you plan, I will follow you, but for the time being, you can't leave the Beiming Empire casually. I know you want to become stronger. The Beiming Empire has enough resources, especially the country's capital, which is our biggest core. It is much more magnificent than here and has more powerful people. Can I go to the underworld right now?" Wu Yu thought about it. If he wants to go, he must go to the vastest world, where the most powerful people gather. Only in this kind of place can one truly broaden his horizons and gain more knowledge. Opponent. The more opponents there are, the more challenges there are. Princess Yuking hesitated and said, "Should we wait a few days? After all, I just arrived here not long ago. If I leave in a hurry, it would be too rude. My aunt is afraid of being suspicious." In 10 days and a half, there will be no problem. Wu Yu thought for a while and said, "It's okay, then I'll stay here for a few days. I'm here for the first time, so you can take me to see your Beiming Empire. This Hangxian city is actually grand enough for me." Wu Yu sighed with emotion. He did not expect that the gap between Yanhuang ancient territory and Dongsheng divine continent would be so huge in the same world of Yanfu. There was an old woman on the side of the road. She was probably very clean and hygienic. She used Taoist techniques. She was also at the 10th level of qi condensation. This is considered the lowest level person in Hangxian city. I randomly ran past a group of playful children under 10 years old, who also had various Taoist skills. Children playing and fighting could attract strong winds and fires. Fortunately, the entire Hangxian city was covered by a magic circle, even the floor under their feet. They are all very hard and have not been damaged. If placed in Wudu, a child could destroy Wudu. Seeing that Wu Yu was very interested, Princess Yuking said, "It just so happens that I have a few friends who invited me to the Shankai Palace of Ecstasy this morning for a wine tasting and discussion. This meeting is probably still going on. They are all from the north. Two of the young geniuses from the Hades Empire have just come out of the Taku Immortal Road. Are you interested in taking a look?" Princess Yuking's friends are obviously all rich and noble people in the Beiming Empire. Their families are all prosperous monastic families. For example, the master of the palace is almost average. If it weren't for Princess Yuking, Wu Yu would have never had the chance to sit with them. "Why, wine tasting and discussion?" he asked. Princess Yuking smiled sweetly and said, "This is a gathering that all the monks in the Yanhuang ancient territory love. After practicing Taoism, friends gather together in twos and threes to taste the top winemakers, using fairy spirits and other precious materials. The fine wine brewed by alchemy techniques, and then sit on the floor to discuss their own Tao and share their own experience of cultivation. To a certain extent, through sharing and answering questions, everyone can solve their doubts and make progress. Only good friends can get together. It sounds simple, just get together with a group of people and discuss knowledge. In the mortal fairyland, this is what literati like to do. However, to put it bluntly, this is a circle. In the final analysis, it is still a gathering of a circle. For example, ordinary people cannot participate in the gatherings of Princess Yuking's friends. However, they are a group of distinguished people who make progress with each other through sharing and discussion. Others cannot catch up with the footsteps of these geniuses. And maybe there will be some particularities in this wine tasting discussion. Since I have decided to hang out in the Beiming Empire, I have to get to know more people. It doesn't matter whether I make friends or offend them. When I come out, I want to see the world. If I want to immerse myself in hard work, I can stay in Fusion Tower." Wu Yu's goal is very clear. There are big and small goals. The big goal is, of course, to become an immortal. The small goal at the moment is actually very important, that is, the Yuan Shen transformation realm. Only by achieving the Yuan Shen, and most importantly, can I achieve the second Yuan Shen and have a second body, the body of the heaven-swallowing demon ancestor. Then, the extra-legal clone can also continue to move forward. There is also the spiritual Taoist artifact, also I need to have the soul transformation state to truly surrender. These three aspects alone are enough for Wu Yu to desire. Especially the second soul, Wu Yu has longed for it for a long time. This chapter is not over, please click on the next page to continue reading. Moreover, there are also new 72 changes. After getting Wu Yu's consent, Princess Yuking speeded up, shuttled through the streets, and quickly arrived at the Shankai Ecstasy Palace. Wu Yu caught up with her easily. The Shankai Palace of Ecstasy is a very high-end place. Only people with noble status and prominent reputation can enter and exit. They gather here to enjoy wine. It can be seen from the various decorations outside that this place is elegant. Land. Looking from afar, the Shanghai Ecstasy Palace is a pearl in Hangzhou city. It is inlaid on it. The singing inside is melodious and the light and shadow are moving. There are strong men guarding the gate. There are dozens of people guarding them, all of them are Yuan Shen. The cultivators in Xinjiang, who come in and out, are either young geniuses or senior cultivators. All of them have outstanding temperament, which cannot be compared with the people from Dongsheng Shenzhou. Of course, although Wu Yu's level is lower than these guards, in terms of strength, he is definitely stronger than them. He just lamented that in Dongsheng Shenzhou, someone who could be a sect leader could only be a guard here. If it weren't for the demons raging in the sea on the way to Dongsheng Divine Continent, and Dongsheng Divine Continent was not suitable for them to become stronger, they would probably go to Dongsheng Divine Continent to show their dominance. However, no matter how powerful you are, no matter how noble your status is, you still have to bow your head and salute when you meet Princess Yuqian, and make way for Princess Yuqian to go first. The guard also hurriedly came forward, made a gesture of invitation, and said, "Princess, please go, let's go this way." "Princess, are you going to the Liwuxuan?" Princess Yukong nodded, and the guard immediately understood. He bowed and led Princess Yukong forward with respect on his face. Of course, they all saw Wu Yu. Although they were curious about who this person was, they absolutely did not dare to ask any more questions. After all, this is the person brought by Princess Yuking. To enter the Shanghai Ecstasy Palace, you have to go through identity verification and there are thresholds. If Wu Yu comes alone, he will have to enter. Princess Yuking must have been here many times. She was familiar with the way and shuttled through this splendid palace. The guards could not keep up with her. She personally led the way to the Liwa Pavilion. They are all my friends. With me here, they don't dare to make mistakes in the Beiming Empire. Princess Yuking still had absolute confidence in herself. Her confidence, pride, and coldness returned to her at this time. After seeing his face, she confessed to Wu Yu, then gently opened the door of Liwuxuan and walked in casually. "I've seen the princess." The people inside had been alarmed by the footsteps. When they saw Princess Yukong coming in, they had a look of surprise on their faces, and they quickly saluted Princess Yukong. "I didn't expect the princess to come. We are so lucky." Immediately, there were compliments. Wu Yu took a look and saw that there were about 10 people here. In the noble Liwa Pavilion, there were also more than a dozen jade tables with spiritual patterns. The jade tables exuded a faint halo and fragrance, which made the Liwa Pavilion it looks very elegant. A dozen young men and women all looked like top figures. If Wu Yu hadn't seen too many such proud men on the Taku Immortal Road, he would probably be ashamed of himself at this time. They were sitting cross-legged, with fine wine on the table. The aroma was particularly strong. Everyone was wearing Taoist utensils and brocade clothes, which were very luxurious. Every move they made was indeed very particular. When Princess Yuking arrived, some people immediately gave up the best seats. At this time, they also saw the presence of Wu Yu. There were indeed 2 of them. Wu Yu had met him on Taku Immortal Road. At this time, the other party's face froze in place. To them, the fact that Wu Yu is probably here and following Princess Yuqian is really unexpected. Princess Yuqian sat down at the first place on her own, and no one made room for Wu Yu. There was still room, which was far away from Princess Yuxian. At the last position, when Princess Yuxuan sat down, she looked to the side not far away. One of the young talents said, "We have distinguished guests today, please go to the back." The young talent was startled and looked at Wu Yu, a little confused, but after all, this was Princess Yuking's order. Although he felt unhappy, he still got up and sat in the back. There was also a beautiful maid from Shanghai Ecstasy Palace outside. She quickly walked in and poured wine for Princess Yuking and Wu Yu, who had just sat down. At this time, Everyone looked at Wu Yu and Princess Yuki. Of course, those two recognized Wu Yu and said hurriedly, "Princess, why, Wu Yu is here."